So our discussion this evening is going to be on remote impact, unleashing the power of virtual volunteering. My name is Misha Bhatt, and I am the Senior Vice President at iVolunteer. As the world becomes, increasingly digital and post-COVID, the buzzword that we have been all hearing about is all about virtual volunteering. How can virtual volunteering help us create a much more meaningful impact to all our service users is what we are here to learn and understand from our expert panel speakers. We have quite a big panel today, and I'm really happy and privileged to have you all with us this evening. Please let me know if you can hear me at the back. And I would also recommend, because there are a few empty tables, should you wish to move ahead, by all means, feel free to do so. Yeah? So just pull in some chairs and come in. On the panel, we have with us Dr. Kamal Peter, who is a Principal Specialist for Oracle Volunteering and CSR India. Kamal Peter is a highly accomplished and award-winning professional with a career spanning over 4 decades. She is currently the Social Impact Leader at Oracle India and has previously worked as an educator and community volunteer. She is a passionate advocate for social causes, including fostering a nation of volunteers, addressing the digital divide, promoting gender equality in STEM, and supporting hunger relief, disability advocacy, and environmental conservation. She has received numerous awards for her work, including the National Award on Teachers' Day from the President of India and the Karnataka Women's Leaders Award. Dr. Peter's mantra is to always go above and beyond what is expected and to be there for others with a smile, a nod, and a helping hand. Very welcome, ma'am. We then have with us on stage Nikitha Madan from eVidyaloka. Nikitha is the Senior Manager of Technology and Volunteer Management of Operations. She is a postgraduate from PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, and is a passionate educator dedicated to implementing diverse teaching methodologies for quality education. Starting as an eVidyaloka volunteer, she embraced various roles evolving from state coordinator and currently serving as a Senior Manager of Technology and Volunteer Management Operations. Her commitment and innovations has earned her the WICA Innovations Champion 2020 Award in the Emerging category. Nikitha's journey exemplifies her dedication to enhancing education, showcasing adaptability and positive impact within eVidyaloka. Very welcome, Nikitha. We then have on stage with us Karthee Vidya, who is the team from Team Everest. He is the founder, CEO, and as he calls himself, the first volunteer as well. Karthee is a social entrepreneur who founded Team Everest to promote volunteering in India. After quitting his corporate job, he's dedicated himself full-time to the cause and has since inspired over 1 lakh people to volunteer, helping 1 million people in need. Karthee has partnered with over 250 corporations, SMBs, and startups to advance volunteering and CSR initiatives. He enjoys developing large-scale volunteering programs, problem-solving, and streamlining processes in his free time. He also enjoys reading, watching cricket, and taking long naps on the weekend. Very welcome, Karthee. Thank you. Good to have you on board. Last but not the least, we have our team from Mentor Together. We are very grateful that we have 2 people from Mentor Together who would be presenting jointly. So first, I have Manish Lal, who is the Associate Director for Programs and Operations. Manish has over 2 decades of dedicated experience in community development and humanitarian endeavors. Manish is deeply committed to fostering sustainable change through community empowerment. As the Associate Director for Programs and Operations at Mentor Together in Bangalore, he leads strategic planning and execution to drive impactful initiatives. Having held diverse roles within international NGOs and multinational corporations, his expertise is anchored in operations, strategic planning, and forging strategic alliances. He specializes in seamlessly integrating cross-cutting themes into technical programming and conceptualizing faith-based project models, providing technical support at the national and Asia-Pacific levels. Additionally, he holds a doctorate in theology and a double degree in arts and theology. We also have with us Prerna Chidananda from Mentor Together. Prerna is a Senior Manager for Technology and Volunteer Management Operations, and she will be presenting joint. So thank you so much all once again for joining us this evening. In terms of the flow for this particular particular session. It is a case study session. How we would be going about it is that each panel member would be presenting or an 8 or 10 minute of short presentation about their work. Also, we would like to kind of, add a caveat over here that while PPT or, people are representing their own organizations, please understand the thoughts and the messages that they are putting up on the PPT are their own and may not represent those of the particular organization. Yeah, so we just like to make that clear. And with this, I would like to invite Dr. Peters to please come and, share her work with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone. Yeah, it feels closer to getting free for the day, isn't it? How are you feeling? I must thank Dr. Prahlad from Bhumi for having me over to VolCon 24. Because let me commit, I love being at conferences with spotlight volunteering, which is much more than the CSR legislative journey. Yeah, because here we are celebrating the human power, the human potential, the human spirit of change. And sometimes I believe if that is coupled up with, of course, we all need funds, the outcome is so much better. And I myself love to be on the ground volunteering, and I feel volunteers are a constellation of energy. And are you feeling energetic for the session? I would love to share my experiences because I'm learning from so many here. And when it comes to volunteering, I must commit that Oracle India, actually, like many others, adopted virtual volunteering in right earnest during the COVID. Before that, there was internet, there was a scope, but we never experimented. In fact, a volunteer management system didn't have that drop-down menu also. It's only during the COVID we realized this was the time that humanity needed us the most. And we were privileged, holding jobs, being in secure places, but the world was looking out for help. And then started what is creative thinking to find solutions. That's why I say virtual volunteering. Today, everybody, we all accept that yes, it's a very powerful tool. It has to be a part of the buffet we offer to our employees, because everything about virtual volunteering is so real, which I have said. You need to plan, you have time commitments, you have deadlines, you can offer solutions, you can create, impact. And this is the place maximum innovation is required. So no wonder virtual and real, they may seem two opposites, but virtual volunteering is real volunteering. So at 21, also much part of 22, where we were completely virtual, you see the results of FY23 at Oracle. I must tell you, at Oracle, the program is employee driven. I'm the single volunteering in charge for entire Oracle India. How do I function? We empower our employees to become project leaders. Everyone has an access to a volunteer management system. So that is why maybe I sleep tonight and next morning I have a notification. Someone in Noida wants to plan a project. So I need to know what is the project description, to see the nature of the project, with which NGO. We can't directly walk into government schools. We can't go and start cleaning a park, as a group together. So we actually amplify the vision of the NGOs who really do excellent work. They come and tell us what their needs are and we try to help them out. So globally, you'll see only in FY23, 19% of the projects were virtual. And in India, it was 25%. So before, COVID, zero virtual volunteering. Then complete virtual volunteering. Opened up, many of them said, it's nice to go back in the community. I miss that emotional connect with my people. But we have examples in our case study to show what emotional connect can mean at different times. And though last year we were only 25% in India, I'm sure when we close on May 31st this year, I can say comfortably that we may reach 44 or 45%. Still a long journey, but we are working gradually on how we can make things better. Now, this is my case study, as Nikitha told me. My thoughts today energetically go back to the month of December 2020. When I received a mail from this lady here, she is Manjari Joshi, the founder of Maya Care. Okay, so in my case study, the NGO with whom I worked is Maya Care Foundation. A mail came through LinkedIn, email to me asking, Kamal, I am so and so, and this Maya Care, we work to support two marginalized communities. One are the senior citizens and the other are persons with disabilities. And when she said, I want to give people, that is the persons with disabilities, professional skills, I first was in full admiration of this lady. As I said, we should admire, in fact, give a round of applause to every NGO founder. They have such a vision. I said, okay, at such a time during the COVID, she could have valued herself or people with her in self-sympathy. Nobody was hearing anybody's voice during COVID times. Everybody was trying to protect their own health. Who would listen to an old person thinking, ye to bahut din jee liya, let's protect. There was priorities during that time. She said, I want to give them professional skills. One time I felt here virtual volunteering work, because you'll three boxes here: the voice team, the data team, and the power team, which means she had persons with different types of disabilities, hearing impaired, they are visually impaired, and they have locomotor impairment. So for these people, moving for in-person volunteering is not possible at all. They would love to be, empowered professionally through virtual volunteering. But problem to Kamal was no template of this. We are also learning virtual volunteering. What should I do? The challenge was good, so we said, okay, let's take it up. Her ask was, when we know professional training, they should have good communication skills. They are from, not some such a good economic strata. They needed Hindi as one language that was required. She did a good job and she told me, let's break it up into voice team. Voice team had people with visual impairment. So what were the voice team people doing? They were to be trained to run the helpline of the NGO. So they could use their voice. We had the data team. What was the data team going to do? They can't speak, but they can do a lot of internet research. And they had a project in mind for giving COVID vaccinations. So they could find out which old age home is in which part of the country. Can we offer them some COVID vaccinations? So they started creating the database. We had the power team, which had locomotor. And we realized all three of them needed training, and we started from as simple as making a WhatsApp group professionally to making, your PowerPoints, your Excel sheet, and then she said, okay, you have trained about 40-50 people over 3 months. We can see a change. It was a journey. Now I want to filter down to 15-20 people and make them a part of Project Bindu. Can you please play that video and then I will,
Anjali Joshi. I am the co-founder, director of Maya Care Foundation. We are a charity working with the elderly free of charge in 74 cities of India, 4 cities of the UK, and soon starting in Nepal. The case study, which involves virtual volunteering by Oracle volunteers, is an amazing example of what can be done if people just want to do it. In 2020, we embarked on a new project at Maya Care Foundation to start building a team of leaders, all of them who are persons who have overcome disabilities, mainly visual impairment, and most of them are wheelchair users. The problem statement was such that not just had they difficulty and disability, but they actually came from extremely difficult socioeconomic backgrounds. The scenario being that they had never been allowed to work. They had never been in situations where they understood what is professionalism, and Oracle and its entire team, led by Dr. Kamal and her most dedicated volunteers, took up the challenge of actually designing or co-designing a program with us, which involved right from the basics of how we start a Zoom call, how we set up a Zoom call, how we set up Google groups, how we set up WhatsApp groups, to extremely complex advanced Excel, of course, advanced PowerPoint, leadership training, time management, and all that is needed for a person who has never worked before to begin work, to take on new responsibility, and then also take on teams and teach those teams. The other beauty of how this works is that we know that the Oracle team is spread out across the world, and our own team, the MayaCare team, is spread across 74 cities of India. And all of this has really made it possible because an Oracle volunteer sitting in any part of the world has been able to train and really raise the bar and raise the confidence of this team. Apart from serving the elderly in these cities,
I'll go to the next point. This was my case study to say, and this morning, and this is not over, friends. After 4 months of training, we give them a gap period. They come back and tell us, "Ye hame samajh nahi aaya. Can you please repeat this?" Now, she came back and she said they have been trained to be fundraisers for them. So they are not very professional in their grooming. We are working with them. Their communication skills need to improve. So we are also working for an International Women's Day project because it really gels with the theme, inspire, inclusion in this space. Now, I'll be very quick. We'll take rest of the questions in our panel. See, I'll tell you virtual volunteering can give solutions to the world. Yeah, I'll be quick. Now, you can use an app, say, of Ocean Conservancy, tried and tested by us. Anyone in any part of the world can go and clean that place up and put in the data, because the effort by them is you can all play your part to make the planet cleaner. So what are we doing? We give this option to our employees. Just go ahead, and there are no funds, no finances involved, but your contribution, like tomorrow, this Saturday morning, if Kamal feels the BBMP has not done a great work, I need to go and spend half an hour in my locality, I can do it. You can take, the cameras of the forest into your Zoom. You have the Zoological Society of London, where they have put cameras in the deepest forest, and where you can help a conservationist to find out which animal is there, start tagging it, and you make your contribution in a digital way. What about, culture immersion between Japan and India? It's a constantly going program every 6 months with the CK International School, where culture appreciation is being taught, where children are sharing, what it is. You can see the Japanese kids. And I think this is achieved curriculum versus intended and implemented curriculum, where peace and I think acceptance to whatever is happening in the world with wars can be put to an end. And when you work, the national education policy said, why should children who are visually impaired or speaking impaired go to separate schools? Why can't children in common schools, just like Hindi and English, learn sign language? So we taught this on, you can't do it in one session. So you can't go every day and in person. So this continued over 2 months with UNICEF, which became a pilot for them. And the whole class has learned the sign language. And we connected them with children who actually only speak in sign language. And as you know, there are a lot of questions that will come. Yeah, so when volunteering works, how do you assess volunteering? What's the future of volunteering? I will take it in the
Q&A
panel
section.
because, you must have read about Fali Nariman, who passed away recently. In one of his tributes, somebody said that one day he was in a conference and a person kept on speaking. He sent a note to that person, KIS.I. And what was the full form of that? Keep it short, idiot. Oh. So, because the speaker never left the mic. So I'm so reminded because I read this in his latest tribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kamal. Thank you very much. It's quite engaging. Okay. Up next, we have Nikitha Madan from eVidyaloka.
Hi, good evening all. I think Kamal ma'am would have made the full session has been Josh. So I'll just give a quick brief about eVidyaloka's model. So eVidyaloka is an organization that provides quality education to the rural government India through volunteers, and these are live sessions. So virtual volunteer connect to the students in rural India and they teach. And this has been done since 2011. It's not during the COVID, just because of COVID, we started this virtual volunteering. eVidyaloka was one of the pioneer organization who has been in virtual volunteering since 2011. So this picture speaks a lot, where the volunteer is sitting somewhere and the student sitting in the rural government school through the technology where they are connecting. So this is the basic concept of eVidyaloka. So you might ask, why virtual volunteering since 2011? So we have been into the virtual volunteering just right now. We all have been introduced, and everything, online classes, everything has been done in right now. So as I said, our schools are located in rural India. And reaching those rural, remotest village is not that easy, going physically up and down every day, coming back, and we need a proper volunteer for that. So we choose virtual volunteering, where the volunteer can sit in their convenience any part of the world. It can be US, it could be your own place, it could be your corporate, your office, your home, someone's while cooking itself, the teachers teach, the volunteer teach. So it could be anywhere where you can just sit, have your laptop open, talk to the students, and you can connect and you can start giving the quality education. So basically, these schools are of shortage of teachers. So that's a place where eVidyaloka pitches in for virtual volunteering, giving the quality education. And the skills that volunteer brings is amazing. It's not necessary that you have to be an B.Ed. You have to be a passionate volunteer. That's it. So once a passionate volunteer comes, all your skills goes to the students directly. So that is the main. And the cost cutting, which is very, no need to travel. You can sit in your place. All you need is internet and your laptop. That's it, right? And the impact what is eVidyaloka has been creating is, these volunteers sit in US in the night and teach the students in night 11 p.m. to the students who are sitting at 10 a.m. over here in India. And that's the impact that they have created to the students, and the students see them as a role model, because they are coming out of the world. They have been inside that village, they see something new, which is through the TV, they see it something new. And the success story of eVidyaloka, the program, is the digital classroom program. So how this digital classroom program is, we set up a simple classroom setup with a TV, CPU, and a web camera, along with internet connection, of course. And we train our local community people how to use this particular system, and we have volunteers onboarded throughout the world, actually. And apart from this digital classroom, so this digital classroom has been success since 2011. But then we saw few volunteers who are looking for a short-term volunteering also, because digital classroom requires a long-term minimum of 3 months to 4 months of volunteering, because it's an academy. We need a continuity of the teaching for them. So that's what these three programs which came as in success called NSIC, Brain, and Edge. So this NSIC is a program where the volunteer mentors the students on identifying a problem in their village, and they come out with an innovative solution. For example, there is no water in their village, so they write a petition to the local community, and then they receive. So there are many success stories of this particular program. So now the school has, the village has water communities, the village has dustbins. So everything is done through this program. And next is the Brain. As you all know, along with virtual volunteering, another thing which is trending, anyone can guess, along with that? AI. So AI has been again trending these days. So we have volunteers who are training these students on AI basics. What is AI? Why, how, where we can use. So, and students are coming out with small solutions on how they can use AI in there. So, for example, one of the student had done an AI project in farming, because they know farming. They are the rural schools or the rural areas for farming, right? So they did a project where when you show a camera or something, it will tell you about the crop. You need to pour water. You need to put manure. The crop is about to die. Do something. So it tells you about. So the farmers are getting benefited with this. And next, the Edge. Edge is more on the goal setting. So again, the volunteers mentor the students on how to set your goal and how to reach that goal for the students. So these are the short-term program which has been successful through virtual volunteering, where the volunteers really enjoy connecting with the students and teaching all these things. And the best practice and innovators that eVidyaloka has been following is the onboarding process. A very strong onboarding process is required. then only what we can do, we can have the right volunteers assigning to the right program, because each volunteer has their own skills and own talent and own time commitment, and they are volunteers where we have to respect them, because they are giving the out time for us. They are just coming forward to do something back to their society. So with that respect, we have to keep so simple and flexible for the volunteers, where they can choose what they want, so that the delivery happens a proper way. And we have to have a strong field team. So again, it's in virtual volunteering, where we need someone in the local premises and build an ecosystem where the field team can take a proper step and have a strong community over there. If everything is good, nothing is like, we have challenges too. The main challenge is commitment. So the commitment of drop off of the volunteers. This has been overall throughout the journey of eVidyaloka dropouts, the commitment of the volunteer has been challenging, but we have few steps taking slowly to see how it works actually. First is given best experience to the volunteer. How the volunteer register is, they hear something about your organization in the register. After getting into it, if they don't feel that what they have to do, then they drop out. So given best experience to them, get them that connect to the what were the cause that we are doing. So then the volunteer sticks to that particular cause throughout their journey in eVidyaloka, throughout the program. And recognize the volunteers. So we have a set of recognizations that has been implemented, where address all their journey as a milestone with the badges, or given a certificate of their completions, recognize them for the volunteer of the month. So every month you have a criteria and recognize them as a volunteer of the month. And keep having award sessions. So like annual sessions, we have something called volunteer champion awards. So with the set of criteria, we have jury members who come across all these works what volunteer has done, and they have been awarded in the events. They are physically over here. And the best engagement practice that we have to do. So being virtual, we all have been in virtual during COVID. We have been literally waiting to meet our friends, all our colleagues, waiting for, though we enjoyed the first few months of the COVID, but then we started getting bored, right? The same with the virtual volunteering also. So we, at least that particular city, like for example, if we have a couple of volunteers from Bangalore, no, plan a weekend or Sunday get together, and then we meet and we exchange, like how we do networking, the same way of networking, the same way in Hyderabad, Mumbai, wherever that is possible, have a chapter meet, which is really working out with the volunteers, virtual volunteering. How do we measure the impact? So the dropouts of the school, mainly in the rural India, has gone down, because the students are coming back to the government schools. Only thing is, like, they used to come only for the midday meal earlier. Now they are very, okay, this volunteer is going to teach class today. Let me come and teach. Because the methodology of the teaching is really different. It's not just a blackboard and white chalk. It's a different methodology. They show videos, and through activities, when the students start learning, so they get excited and they come to the school regularly actually. And we track the baseline and endline, the most important, where the student was in the starting of the academic year and where they are at the end of the academic year. So what's the improvement they have done? So because that's the main cause that, like, we have to see. It's not just coming and teaching and going, but what is the impact the student has shown with the teaching throughout the academic year. And it's not only the math, science, English that volunteer teaches regularly. Apart from that, what the volunteer gives some scholastic also, like how the behavior of the students have to improve in the class, discipline, punctuality also has been given out of the education system. And what is the future? So as ma'am said, virtual volunteering is going to be the future of India or of the world, whatever it is. So we have to have a skill-based volunteering, have more opportunities for the virtual volunteers, where they can come and join and give an opportunity to deliver whatever they want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikitha. That was wonderful. In fact, when you were talking about, I was reminded of how many of you all have seen that movie Physics Wala? Physics Wala, the movie. No? Okay, it's on OTT platforms as well. And the way he comes and says, hello, bacho, and and then because first he was like, hello, bacho. and then how he changes. So definitely a teacher also makes a lot of difference, and going back to our own school days as well. So thanks a lot for that. Before we also move on to the next speaker, I just had a very quick question, because you mentioned that there are dropouts. So what would you say is an average the time that a volunteer spends with eVidyaloka?
So it is weekly 2 hours.
Okay.
So one volunteer taking 2 hours in a week for a particular school. So like if you are joining as a volunteer, you will be given a set of students.
Okay.
Weekly 2 hours will connect to the same set of students
So
actually.
weekly 2 hours for approximately 4 months, would you say? Or
So
what
3 months is a minimum commitment. That is one term, because when you have a repeated of volunteers, the mindset of the children keeps changing, because
Yes,
so
that's why.
they'll have a rapport building slowly.
Correct.
So that require at least minimum a month to build a rapport, and we have 3 months of minimum commitment from the volunteers.
So your average, you would say, is 2 hours a week for
Yes, for the
approximately 3. Perfect. Thank you so much. Great. Our next panel speaker is going to be Prerna Chidananda, followed by Manish Lal.
Thank you so much. A very good evening to all of you. So our organization, Mentor Together, is a 14-year-old organization, and we offer empowering mentoring relationships for youth from backgrounds of social and economic disadvantage. And we intend to build life skills and work readiness skills in these mentees. Our vision is basically to create a society where everyone has equality of opportunity to realize their full potential, right? And we have designed Mentor to Go as a scalable digital mentoring platform in order to prepare university students to enter the workforce. So studies have shown that there has been an exponential increase in enrollment in tertiary education in the last 30 years. And today, as you can see, there are close to 40 million young people studying in universities. However, it's just 50% of graduates from Indian colleges who are found to be employable. So the remaining 50% is not employable. And a surprising 70% of women with tertiary education are not active in the workforce. So in order to meet the needs of such a large group of university students, we realized that going digital would be the easiest and the best. Besides, we realized that mobile technology has achieved a very wide reach, right? So by the time a young person turns 18, he or she has access to a basic smartphone as well as data. So we wanted to take advantage of this situation and make sure that quality mentorships are accessible to anybody from any place. So we went digital not only from the point of view of making volunteering more effective, but also from the point of view of problem solving, what was best to meet the needs of the situation. So our digital program is uniquely positioned to address these three needs or three problems. So first is skill deficit. So as we all already know, today's tertiary education rarely imparts the skills that employers are looking for. What we call the 21st century skills, right? Like problem solving, conflict management, people skills, people management. So through our program, we aim to cover this skill deficit. Secondly, network gap. So through our program, we are creating large professional networks of employers as well as mentors who can act as sources of career opportunities and role models for the mentees that we are working with. Finally, breaking existing gender stereotypes and promoting new gender norms. So again, by connecting mentees to mentors who act as champions of these new norms, who advocate these new norms, we are addressing this issue of gender stereotypes. So we have been successful in building a strong digital mentoring ecosystem, and we have been able to achieve this, first of all, through robust partnerships, secondly, through leveraging technology, and finally, needless to say, through a dedicated team, right? So we have partnered with 3 state governments, the government of Karnataka, Telangana, and Maharashtra. So we have been able to onboard more than 37,000 mentees through 220 plus educational partners who include private colleges, NGOs. Then we have onboarded more than 14,900 mentors through 40 plus corporate partners. And we have created more than 7,400 mentorships between mentors and mentees who have been vetted and trained. So we have been successfully running these two programs. So first is the foundational mentoring program, which is for pre-final year students. And this is a long-term personalized mentorship program where every mentor is mapped with just one mentee or a maximum of two mentees. And they do the mentorship program for over 5 to 6 months. And the intention is to develop various work readiness skills in mentees. We also have the placement support mentoring program, which is exclusively for final year students. And this is for a shorter duration, 3 to 4 months. And every mentor here is mapped with 3 mentees. So this is a group mentorship program. And this specially focuses on preparing the students, the mentees, for their upcoming placement cycle. And we have been implementing these programs through our Mentor to Go app, which has both Android and web versions. So the entire journey of a mentor and mentee is facilitated through the app itself. So we onboard mentors and mentees through screening surveys that the mentors and mentees take on our app. And then the mentors and mentees are trained through self-learning modules that have been uploaded on our app. Then in between, we have an additional layer of check where our team members actually have one-to-one conversations with mentors and mentees to understand their applications better. Then again, the app comes into picture where it facilitates the matching process. So our algorithm matches the right set of mentees with the right set of mentors. Then our entire mentorship program, the program that the mentors and mentees do, is facilitated by a semi-structured evidence-based curriculum that is uploaded on the app. So we also have certain features on the app like the tracking system, the chat channel, the video call feature, which facilitates the smooth flow of the mentorship journey between the mentors and mentees. And finally, we also measure the impact of the mentorship program on the mentees through our app itself. Now, speaking of impact, I would like to call upon Manish to share more.
Thank you, Prerna. Okay, so I'll start. The next slide is it's all about how we create impact. So if you're able to make someone to think different or to believe different, that is impact actually. That's what we believe in Mentor Together. And this is what we see. It is very evident in the organization. The mentors whom we onboard, the mentees whom we onboard, by the time they offboard, like they complete their mentorship journey, tremendous change. Like you can just talk to them. And I can read out some of the quotes. There's one quote given over there, where the mentor says, Mentor Together was a truly enriching journey and a great learning experience. At the end of it, I have gained a new friend. What a powerful statement. A new friend. And again, and one more quote I want to read. It's not there, but this is from Mr. Arnav. He is a mentor, a very experienced mentor from Hyderabad. And he says, I want to give what I have learned. I never had this privilege. I never had mentor in my life. But this is something which I want to give. Now, this is the platform for me to give something what I have learned. And this is what the impact is all about. And you can see some of the indicators where 77% of the mentees, after completing the mentorship journey, they have scored higher on career decisions. So there are some indicators. I'm not going to read out all the indicators, but you can see the impact, right? And these impacts are not just for the students. We have also seen impact especially on the lives of mentors, the volunteers. And one good thing is the one good thing about this whole program is you have people saying yes. Like, who has got the time? And my wife always tell, like, this is like, who has got the time, to mentor your students, to talk to them, to spend time, make them understand. But this is what is happening. This is what impact is all about. And yes, there are different tools that we use in the organization. We have Net Promoter Scale, where we use to assess their impact. We have case stories. And currently now we are working on, we want to have some annual meets where we want to invite mentors and mentees to come and share their experiences. So there are different tools in the organization which measures this impact. Next one. Okay. Challenges, I think it's very similar to what you have presented, very similar challenges. It's difficult because the moment they see about the program, they listen, they hear about the program, they're very excited. They say, okay, yes, chalo, let's do it. But then later on they realize, no, it's going to be very difficult. You have to give your time, you have to give your energy, you have to and then we have seen mentors dropping out. So the moment they sign up and then we ask them to complete some training modules, or we ask them to complete the whole journey, there are definitely dropouts. But these are some of the challenges. And if you go to the point number 3, only 25 of the mentors, they complete our mentorship training modules. So now think about the other, right? A big number, big chunk of mentors dropping out. And also there's a problem when it comes to delay in matching mentors from certain skills and skill set, which is again a very difficult. Now, just imagine a student coming from pharmacy. Now we have to look someone who comes from pharmacy background, a mentor, a well-experienced mentor. So sometimes it becomes very difficult for the team to identify, to map, and match mentor and mentee. Now we have planned also to overcome these challenges. Some of the plans quickly I can share with you, because I think challenges will be always there. How we are planning to tackle these challenges? So we conduct jointly, periodically stakeholder meetings. So this is what our plan is. So we want to invite mentors and mentees, corporates, companies, different college institution representatives to come and share their concerns, right? And have a meeting together, so that, okay, together as it, okay, what can be the solution, right? What can be our plan, right? And also to have a better engagement in terms of the org's alignment with their objectives. The second strategy we have is that we are working on refining our mentor training modules. So now there are some mentors who find it very difficult to complete. So we are also working on that, how we can simplify some of the training modules that can help mentor to complete the training sessions. We also have a very dedicated team who are assigned to every mentor. Now this is something again very unique. We have dedicated team for each individual mentor to support from the day we onboard, the day they complete their mentorship journey. And the last one is that we, again, through our lessons learned workshop, through our annual meet, we try to address their issues. Go to the next one, please. Yeah. Now, what is the future of...
Quickly wrap up
Okay.
as well, please.
1 minute. What is the future of virtual volunteering? Again, we can leverage AI for screening and matching. We can help passive users experience mentoring more actively. We can increase the number of volunteers from less explored career fields. And the last one is that we can make virtual volunteering more inclusive. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
And
so
we're going to
much.
have some question answers on that.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mentor Together. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay,
Don't
so
worry,
meantime,
acknowledge.
may I know, thanks for putting me as the last speaker here. So,
I have
may I know
question
how
answers,
many
Karthee.
corporates here? Can you raise hands? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. NGOs? Any individuals? Organizers? Okay, cool. Slide is set to come. So let me start meantime. Okay, so I know I'm going to be the fourth speaker. You keep listening all the time, right? So let me do a quick icebreaker for you. This is a challenge. You have to give me 1 rupee coin and I will give you 10 rupees right away. Who first come, first serve. No GPay and all. Yes. You want to give me a coin, 1 rupee coin, I'll give 10 rupees right away. Who comes first? Okay, Shiva. Get great ROI, right? Investment of 1 rupee and got 10 rupees. Thanks, Shiva. Good that someone who's close to me got it. So we'll have a chai outside. Okay. So thank you. Hi, I'm Karthee Vidya. I'm the founder, CEO, and first volunteer of Team Everest. So very quick intro into who we are. We are a 17-year-old organization started in 2006. And our vision is to basically to inspire everyone to volunteer. I always used to say, as a family, we go to a movie. As a family, we go to shopping. As a family, we go to restaurant. As a family, why are we not going on volunteering? So I strongly believe if we create a culture of volunteering in India, we can inspire a lot of... We have built, it's been this 17 years, we have built a community of 1 lakh volunteers right now. And if you look at this, these volunteers come from 2,000 different places within India. They don't come from one place. And also from 30 countries. All Indians wanting to give back to the society. Predominantly, we work with the IT crowd, so they keep moving to new countries. And we had the experience of working with more than 250 corporates so far. So a lot of these people, again, travel across all those things. So we really had a challenge. Our challenge is we are at one place. We were at Chennai, but our volunteers are 2,000 places within India and 30 different countries. How do you solve this? So that's where the solution of virtual volunteering came into play. It's not because of COVID we do. we really had a challenge which we want to tackle. Now, this is the baby steps we took. We started this in 2016 after a brainstorming session. We told, okay, let's do virtual volunteering. No one knows what it is. And we initially used Skype, right? And some people would know this. So we were using Skype to do the sessions, all those things. And no internet, internet is very slow, boring, right? And thanks to Geo, it made a huge difference because calls moved from one call, 1 minute, 1 rupee to call become free and data pricing came. That was a huge breakthrough for us. And we are almost like a virtual first organization because in fact you could see I'm a very lazy guy. During the introduction she told about me sleeping on weekends. How could you do things easy, right? So even before this, 85% of our volunteering hours came via virtual. Because if you actually understand this virtual, right? So you take a cricket match. Any given point of time, there'll be more people who will be watching that match from outside the cricket stadium and not from inside the cricket stadium. So if you are talking about promoting volunteering in India, we do not have a capacity. We are 140 crore people. So virtual doesn't scale like that. So you really need something like virtual because it's very affordable and cheap basically, right? So 85% of our volunteering hours even at that time was clocked via virtual. And like Kamal was mentioning, in fact, no corporate took virtual volunteering. No one understood. They're telling, I can go and meet them. Why virtual? We could not sell it to any corporate at all at that time. And COVID, thanks to COVID, one good thing happened is it accelerated virtual volunteering in India because they had no other choice. Okay, so what is our programs? So I will give you two programs. One of the program we do is called Speak Out. It's a one-to-one teaching program. What we basically do is we assign a volunteer and the volunteer teaches spoken English to a college student because most of these corporate volunteers speak good English, right? And this is the simple thing we did. We give you 45 days. I'll give you a mentor. I will give you a curriculum. You do 30 sessions in 45 days. That's the goal. Each call is for minimum 30 minutes. And our biggest program that we did is, in a single program, we made 1,500 volunteers and 1,500 students, 3,000 people in a single program. And you know what? In that program alone, more than 45,000 phone calls actually happened. So that's the power. Imagine doing a program with 3,000 people for 45 days. It's extremely costlier. And the reason basically why I gave that 1 rupee he gave and I gave 10 is because it gives you 10x impact actually virtual if you go for, because you less very little money and you could actually take the impact could be easily 10x. So more than 30,000 volunteering hours clocked in a single program I'm talking about. In fact, not even many corporates clock 30,000 volunteering hours in a year. This is one program we are able to achieve. The second program I want to talk about is one-to-one mentoring program where we focus on employability and 21st century skills. See, our criteria is very simple. If you are a graduate, you can do this program for an upcoming college student. So again, we tagged one volunteer with one college student. Here the idea is very simple. Give them 20 days, ask them to do 13 sessions, only one phone call a day. Each phone call is for 45 minutes. And why do we do this? Because today if you look at the data, most of these corporates actually, most of the volunteers give 2 hours to 20 hours of their time actually. Majority, 95% in this country, that funnel is around 2 hours to 20 hours of volunteering. So if you can actually build programs around that period, you can engage a lot of volunteers. Because India as a country, just now volunteering is picking up. So the goal is to push them beyond 20 hours. But today, that's the start. And I'm very sure it will increase over the period of time. And phone call could happen from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. IST, right? So they really have from morning to evening. So enabling people within India, across India, before going to office, after coming from office, lunch break, or you can just take a small break inside the office, do the phone call. But it really gives a lot of flexibility to a volunteer. And today, volunteers from 75 plus corporates, volunteers with us, 30 plus countries, people are volunteering from. And many repeat volunteers also part program actually. And today if you look at it, I think this is data we started tracking from 2018, 2019. More than 7 lakh phone calls has happened virtually. Normal audio calls, no internet, nothing. It's a normal audio call via which we have enabled this mentoring program. So what's the impact then, right? If you look at it, high impact because of one-to-one attention. See, even if you go for an in-person event to a school, and you ask, and even here, do you have a question? Many people will not ask a question because Sometimes in the school, the child will think others will laugh at me, so I will not ask you. But one-to-one, give them that space to ask the question for where they have a doubt. So in fact, in some cases, one-to-one is very, very impactful than an in-person event. And we got higher volunteering score for one-to-one compared to some of our in-person events. And even the student score was very, very higher, which means we are some values really getting created over there. And many students gave credit to our virtual volunteering program, the mentoring program, for their success actually. So what should you keep in mind when you roll out a virtual volunteering? It could be for the corporates or the not-for-profits. It's not for all volunteers, you need to understand. Some volunteer will tell, hey, I love going in person, great. Similarly, there are also introverts. People will say, I don't want to go in person, I will do it from my home, right? So it's not for all the volunteers. Just like how there is a fan base for in-person, there's a fan base for virtual also. And similarly, it's not for all beneficiaries. You need to understand. If you think I will solve everything in virtual, no. Some people love meeting people in person. So again, it's not for all beneficiaries. And it's not for all programs. People think I will do everything. Imagine coaching a Olympics team, football Olympics team, or a sprint Olympics team virtually. No, you can't do that. So you really need to understand where it works. It's a powerful tool. You need to use it at the right place. So use virtual volunteering very, very wisely. So success recipe for virtual volunteering, I see these are key things. Tech platform. You need a good tech platform because it gives you that scale. Good curriculum you need, or a program structure. You need a good structure in place and a curriculum so that you really guide people. Clear volunteer orientation, because you give one shot at them, explain them clearly, then people will take it forward from there. And help us to clarify volunteer and student queries, because there are people who have questions. If in person, I have a query, I will reach out to the POC who took me there. But in virtual, where will they reach out to? So today we run a help desk system where we get around 2,500 queries a month, and people are answering it. Just like how Airtel, Vodafone is having a help desk, we are a non-profit, but we run a help desk. So really understand, so because people get stuck if you don't help them and they drop out from your program. So have SLAs, respond within 24 hours, 48 hours, so that people really take up that program actually. And automated timely reminders. Today what happened, 15 minutes before the session timing, a mail would go reminding them about the program. Attendance is marked before 9 p.m. tonight. They will get a reminder, so that everything gets tracked actually. So what are the benefits then? Why you should consider virtual? It's very, very high impact if properly designed. Many people keep complaining, telling that, hey, virtual, nothing works, nothing like in person and all, and that person will be telling me over a Teams call or a Google Meets call. So, and we all use WhatsApp. It's a virtual platform. So you really need to understand this platform and do it properly. Highly, highly scalable. Like I told you, 10x is your ROI here. Extremely low cost and no location constraints. You could do it anywhere. We had a real challenge. That's why we started virtual volunteering. No date and time constraints at all, so that you could do it any day, any time. And see, this is the most important thing. Volunteer decides when to volunteer, not the CSR POC. See, today why TV is obsolete cable connection? Because cable connection tells you this is the program time, you better come at the time and see my show. People want freedom, people want independence. I am the boss here, I am the king, I will choose the time for my program. That's what virtual volunteering gives them. So you are empowering that person, not the CSR POC does this. So power in the hands of the volunteer, so that they decide when to volunteer. You are not dictating them. This is the time you should volunteer. That's why this is picking up. And perfect fit for organization with greater than 5,000 employees, because you can't scale without virtual volunteering to big numbers. So supports hybrid team, remote working structures. Okay, I am in metros, but I'm also in Vaishak, Tirupati, Indore. This is your solution actually. So final thoughts. If a person can book a cab from home, if a person can watch a movie from home, Hotstar or Amazon Prime, if a person can order food from home, right, your Swiggy or Zomato's, I believe they can also volunteer from home. We should help them volunteer from home too. If not, it's the right of the person. You're not giving that person a platform to volunteer from home. Understand, the entire world is moving virtual, and if you're not giving that opportunity, we are actually not making this world better. So in short, this is what I would say. Please don't get old. consider virtual. If not, like they say, there's a word called boomer uncle, right? We all become those boomer organizations where world has moved on to virtual, but we are still very, very old and doing in person. So I would say there is a market for both in person and virtual. So please consider virtual. It's not an option, it's a necessity today. Thank you.
I think you made a very important point, when we are even talking about virtual volunteering, that how it is important to even address questions and queries, both from the volunteer and from the student or the mentee perspective as well. Because if that is not addressed, then you possibly have an increased dropout rate at that very point itself. So thank you so much for that. We do have some questions over here, which I would like to put to the panel. Also, if you would like to share any questions, you could also just go to volcon.in/participate and share your questions. Yeah, the QR code is up there again. If you would like to still send your questions in, please do so. I have a question for the panel as well. So, I would like to start with that. So, given the very virtual nature of remote volunteering, I think this is a question that a lot of us keep thinking about. How do you address concerns about accountability, supervision, and safeguarding, especially when we are working with children, or whether even if it is, vulnerable adults, like befriending a vulnerable adult? How do you take those steps? What are the steps that we should be take? So, especially when the volunteer is operating independently from traditional, different from a traditional volunteer. So any one of you, feel free to go ahead, or even if all of you all would like to answer, that will be fantastic. Yeah. Kamal, please.
Any volunteering should have a plan of action. And in that plan of action, you should have review points, where we know what we planned is being achieved or what is the correction that's being made. So if it's a multiple engagement session, so we have to ensure that no volunteer also feels very burdened. So when you are constantly checking, as he said, there is a help desk to address queries. So you start getting accountable. First session, so and so volunteers have been assigned. Come back and tell what you could achieve. You have a lot of data points where you can enter it. So that takes care of accountability. Communication channels are so important. It should be an insider's relationship with your volunteer. You just don't have to tell this has been launched, this much budget has been given. You need to keep boosting their morale, finding out, be a person on the ground with them. And then you find, the volunteer goes. And when it comes to child protection and all, the NGOs tell us about the child protection policy, which is discussed in a briefing session, and people do take care of that. So these things that I'll tell you, the basis of any volunteering is planning, and for proper execution. It's not that how many people you numbered,
Correct.
What's the impact you created. That's important for us, when we put our people who are busy at their workplace to volunteer in the community. Come back and give us a story of change.
Perfect. Thank you so much. But from Mentor Together and eVidyaloka, specifically, very quickly, is talking about, safeguarding practices. Any of your thoughts? We would love to hear from you.
So first is like the orientation, it has to be very strong actually, the onboarding process of the volunteers, because they should be knowing what is do's and don'ts and we have a code of conduct. Like, no, what kind of interest that you have it, because when you're appearing to the students over a big screen to the students, what kind of interest that you have to wear, because they might sit in US, they have different culture, but the students see something what they have to learn them. So that kind of an orientation has to be given strong to the volunteers. And next is accountability. I mean, I'll come to the safeguard, of course. The accountability, what ma'am was telling us, like we should be having a tech platform actually. So a tech platform accountability is like, that you have to deliver, you are accounted to deliver set of sessions over the academic year. And you, that counts out, like out of 50 sessions you have completed 20-30 sessions, and okay, fine, I am accounted for 30 more sessions. So that is an accountability will come to the volunteers, has to come when they see it over. It's not like by telling or something, they have to see it over. Safeguard is, at least in eVidyaloka, it's in the school premises.
All right.
Where we have a group of students sitting together, and we have an ecosystem built where the local communities that is a class assistant, we call it, or class coordinator, who keeps in the school, in the class, in the premises, keeping check how is the volunteer teaching, how is the discipline of the students are there, and is there safe, if the kid is safe with the volunteer, is the volunteer talking anything nonsense which is not needed for the volunteer. So that is already taken care
That's a
through
good
that
point.
kind
So
of
it's in a
system.
safer environment, in a
Yeah.
group kind of an environment.
Extra volunteers. Someone drops out, plan B is there.
Yes. Mentor together. I would specifically like to know, what are the steps you all take in terms of ensuring safeguarding?
Very similarly, we have a code of conduct too that the mentors and mentees read and accept. And currently, our Mentor to Go program caters to students who are above 18 years of age. So they read and accept the code of conduct.
All right.
And during the orientation, actually, even before the orientation is conducted, a dedicated team member is assigned to every mentor and mentee pair. So during the orientation, the team member clearly talks about the code of conduct once again, makes sure that the mentors and mentees are clear about those, and any breach of any of the points under the code of conduct, the team member requests the mentor or mentee to report to the team member. And there's also like an escalation email ID and all of that given if
Okay.
yeah, like
You
there's a single
give
point of
those
contact.
details.
And yes, and sorry, just one more thing
Sure.
to add. The details that we collect from the mentors and the mentees, right, after a certain we store certain information that might be considered sensitive only till the time that the users are in active mentorship. So once they complete a mentorship cycle, then we remove that data from our system. And we make this clear to the mentors and mentees that we are storing your information only for a temporary
I
period
think
of
that
time.
is also a very essential point as well as to what time you're. Everybody's telling me that we need to close, but if we started a little late, so if I can take 2 more minutes because I want to have some questions from the audience. There is a question specifically to Manish, which is like, what are the top 3 criteria you have in matching a mentor to a mentee for optimum impact?
One is the domain, second, timing, and the third would be? Yeah, the language.
Does that answer your question? This question was asked by Briganka. Okay, brilliant.
No, this is here the NGOs play the part. They tell us their needs, and
We
we
might need
need
to
to
take this
actually
discussion
honor
outside.
what they bring to us, because they know their beneficiaries better. And unless you know the beneficiary, you can't change help improve their lives.
Yeah. And also at Mentor Together, we have a very robust screening system, which takes almost 60 minutes, right, for us to interact with mentors when we onboard them. So that covers everything. Yeah.
We're very short of time, and there is also another question which was about monitoring content volunteering in teaching during virtual classes. I think that question has kind of been answered. And if there is anything else as well, we can always take it up tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you all so much for your time, and many thanks to our wonderful panel today for
Thank
your
you
time.
very much.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening. Yes, they would be taking photographs. So what we are doing is as a small way of showing our gratitude and thanks for your time. We are going to be planting 4 trees in your name. So this is a certification to show that.